Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming in a new Baldurs Gate video. Today I have for you my first build video for the game. This is the multi-class combination of Fighter and Warlock. It kind of functions like an Eldritch Knight except with better ranged options, triple attacks per turn, and perfect synergy for short rest resetting. The Fighter Warlock is able to reach 3 action attacks per turn without needing to full commit to Fighter. This is thanks to the Fighter passive at level 5, extra attack, and then again at level 5, Warlock and Deepen Pact. Somehow these stack despite other classes' extra attack just not working like that. And other than that insanely strong aspect, this class combo provides a variety of incredible perks, such as the best offensive cantrip in the game, Eldritch Blast, a 1d10 for force that you can conjure not once but twice in one go, and it also looks incredible. It can also be turned into a very powerful knockback, very useful. You can also see that our main stat is actually charisma, not strength as it thinks it is. This is thanks to the Bind Pact weapon. It takes your weapon and makes it scale with charisma. As you can see, it says so. Pact weapons use the wielder's spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dexterity. So this means we're scaling our weapon damage via charisma, which also synergizes with our casting, specifically Eldritch Blast, which is scaling from charisma too. Through this playstyle, we're able to cast multiple spells to fight, attack 3 times a turn without haste currently buffed on us mind. And then we also have Action Surge, which per short rest immediately gives you an extra action to use that turn, so you can even attack 4 times with that in mind. For our subclass, we're benefiting from the Battlemaster subclass for the superiority die roll attacks, which as you can see can be incredible in the form of fainting attack, giving us advantage and bonus damage on that attack, disarming attack, which can be absolutely incredible for dealing with a very powerful enemy, getting rid of its weapon temporarily. And then the third option's up to you, but I really like sweeping attack because it gives us another AoE option, especially for weaker enemies, alongside cleave if you're running a weapon with that. So awesome combination there. One of the best parts of this combination for me is how both Warlock spells and the Battlemaster dice attacks reset on short rest, as well as Action Surge obviously, so it's all really good synergy there. It means we can go ham in one fight, then short rest to heal back up, and be good to go fully straight away. No long rest needed at all. At higher levels, we'll also unlock extremely useful spells like Counterspell and Fly, and at even higher, there's going to be Fire Shield for super good defensive perks, and Banishment as a hard CC for a scary enemy. Of course, this is all while wearing heavy armor because we have the Fighter class as our first level, so we're raising our AC nicely because of that, making us relatively tanky inherently. So yeah, this concept is both strong and very fun, so let's explain it. So let's talk about leveling. How do we achieve all of this? I'm going to cover the levels 1 to 8 in game because that's a fair representation of the setup before completion and should be where most players are going to be roughly finding themselves right now. However, I'm still going to reference what to do with the last 4 levels, so don't worry. Let's begin. We start with Fighter. This is really important because of proficiencies. You can see on the right what you'll get at this level, including if you take Fighter at level 1, heavy armor. So we absolutely must take Fighter at level 1 to benefit from that. For fighting style, we're using a 2-hand weapon, so great weapon fighting is going to benefit us the most with that. And then we have kind of a weird setup with our ability points, as you can see. We're lowering our strength down to 12. We're getting our dexterity to 16 with the bonus +1. Constitution's at 14. We drop intelligence and wisdom because we don't need these at all, so we can just dump them. And our charisma is nicely high at 16, but we will be getting this to 20 with the total levels. Again, as explained in the intro, your damage scaling on your weapon is coming from charisma and your spells from charisma. So this is your most important stat, whatever it thinks, because you've taken Fighter the first level. Now at level 2, we can start making things interesting. As good as level 2 Fighter is, we need to get Warlock going pretty much immediately, so we're going to multi-class at this point, picking Warlock of course. For the cantrips then, I would recommend Eldritch Blast. Obviously this is the kind of biggest deal about this. It's an incredible spell for a cantrip. And then the other option is up to you really. I would suggest Blade Ward as a nice 2-turn benefit, keeping yourself survivable in tougher situations for sure, but there are other reasonable options here. Those are the ones I'm going to run though. Then we have our subclass where we're going the Fiend. This provides us with another defensive spell that we can use. Until long rest, Armor of Agathes will apply 5 temporary hit points and you'll deal cold damage, 5 cold damage to any creature that attacks you with a melee. Not ultra necessary, but a nice defensive option should you find yourself under attack by a lot of little creatures perhaps. For the second spell though, I would strongly recommend Hellish Rebuke, a heavy hit of 5 fire damage on reaction, helping you get just an extra turn of damage, and it can be pretty gnarly if they're weak to it. The subclass Fiend actually provides us with the Dark One's Blessing, meaning when you kill a hostile creature, you just get 4 temporary hit points, which again will help us stay alive. So obviously that level is very impactful, and that's why we go for it at level 2. At level 3 though, we're also going to level Warlock once again. For the spell slot here, I would recommend Hex. It basically means your attacks deal extra necrotic damage as you attack, so just further improving your damage, and gives it disadvantage on whichever ability you want to choose. As you use this, it actually becomes a bonus action only to reapply the Hex, so you can apply it to multiple targets in a fight. Then for our eldritch options, we're of course going to take Agonizing Blast. This is how we turn Eldritch Blast into a charisma modifier, making it so powerful for this build. And I recommend Repelling Blast, which makes it a hilarious 4.5 meter push, which can kill enemies, reposition them in terrible spots, or force them to your allies if you want that. It can also be useful as a ranged way to get someone off, say, your squishy casters. It's just got a lot of uses. It's really cool. Which brings us to our level 4, where we're now getting Warlock level 3, which does in fact mean we now get Pact of the Blade. Pact of the Blade is how we're turning our weapon scaling into charisma. So this is the point where the build really comes online. As you can see, it gives us Pact of the Blade, summon a weapon to your hand. We're not really using that, but bind Pact weapon, this is what you want, so we make sure this is applied. For spells, we now have our level 2 spells, where I would recommend Misty Step, so you can always reach your targets in a fight or out. It's just very useful, obviously. Now we hit level 5, it's time to go back, not to Warlock, but to Fighter to get Axe and Surge. Every short rest, get an extra action to use that turn, obviously devastating. And then at level 6, we'll once again go Fighter, which means we get our subclass, Battle Master. Of course, as we've talked about, the superiority die are incredible, and we get to choose what we're going to run with it. So 2 of these I would strongly recommend. One of them is kind of up to you, but I'll tell you which one I like. The most important one here is Fainting Attack. You can use both action and bonus action in one turn to attack a target with advantage and deal additional damage. This is just your go-to attack. After that, I like Disarming Attack. Again, you get to knock a weapon out of an enemy's hands, which could be vital for winning a fight or making it much less threatening when that weapon is very strong. The third option is up to you. There are a bunch of options. Riposte is obviously a popular one, but considering we're using that spell slot to blast with fire, perhaps you want to go for something different, like Sweeping Attack, to guarantee you have a weaker AoE for dealing with weaker enemies, or landing multiple hits in one turn with one strike. Now we're at level 7. We're going to again level Fighter, which does mean we get our first feat, which obviously we're going ability improvement, and obviously going 18 charisma to get to the +4 on charisma checks, getting us closer to 20, which we want as soon as possible. This brings us to our current stopping point for at least in-game footage, which is level 8, and we once more go Fighter to finally get extra attack, which is where things get absolutely silly. A free additional attack after making a unarmed or weapon attack means you're going to be attacking 2 to 3 times a turn regularly, and that's only going to get better at level 10 when we get the one from Warlock, as we'll explain. So this is our in-game stopping point. What should I do for the last 4 levels? Level 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, at level 9, you definitely want to go Warlock. This will unlock your next feat option, so we'll go for Ability Improver and get 20 charisma as I just mentioned. Then at level 10, we'll go Warlock again. This will provide the extra attack through the Pact, meaning yes, those 3 attacks a turn will be unlocked at that point, and holy hell does this become strong. Levels 11 and 12 will both go to Warlock and ultimately unlock your 4th level spells, which is obviously going to be incredible. As I mentioned in the intro, I would recommend for your 3rd level spells, Counterspell and Fly. Counterspell to stop nasty enemy spells, of course, but Fly is actually even better than Misty Step because it gives you flight for 10 turns rather than just 1 turn with Misty Step, and obviously that's great. At level 4 Warlock spells, at full build level 12, you can consider Fire Shield and Banishment because they're both very useful defensively. So now with respect, we want to make sure that we have bind Pact weapon on so that we're benefiting from that, giving our weapon Pact weapon buff, meaning yes, it's scaling now with charisma instead of strength or dexterity. With our setup, we're going to want a nice 2-hand weapon. As you can see, I have a Soulbreaker Greatsword, but there will be better options that I'm looking for soon. And you can use Pact of the Blade to summon one of these weapons to your hand if you don't have one, like a big Greatsword or something, but ultimately you want a proper blue or purple weapon yourself for the perks of that. In regards to how you want to play this then, you want to make sure that you're hexing a main target that you're going to smash. Dash, something with a good amount of health to benefit from the Hex for most turns. This is a bonus action and level 2 Warlock spell slot. We only have 2 to begin with at this point, so you want to make sure you're using that intentionally. When you press it, it gives you an option of like, what are you going to nerf? And you probably pick something based on what you're attacking. Potentially Constitution to lower its health, or if you know it's scaling with Strength or Dex or something, you could go for that. Then you'll begin absolutely smashing the target. If you've just hexed, you may have to use a basic attack or maybe a special weapon attack like Soulbreaker here, but your top priority when you can do it is to use an action and a bonus action and a superiority die to feinting attack for the bonus damage and advantage this provides. You'll always want to consider whether you need to disarm the enemy you're attacking, if that will be helpful in any way, and whether you'd AoE with sweeping attack in this case, and potentially cleave if that's an option. Ultimately though, we're hexing a target and absolutely smashing it with our best, strongest attacks available that turn. We may even action surge to be able to go again. In terms of buffing up in the fight, you may consider giving yourself an Armor of Agathis or Blade Ward for the damage reduction that will provide, but remember, Armor of Agathis will reflect some cold damage to those that attack you and give you health, so if you're under attack by multiple melee targets, that can actually be really good, especially if they're low health targets where you just pop them. We can reposition with Misty Step or Fly if you have that later, and as we are a fighter, we can heal ourselves with Second Wind whenever necessary on a bonus action. My advice to you is to go absolutely ham in every fight. Use everything you've got. Use all your superiority die. Use your Warlock spells, Action Surge, Second Wind. Go ham, go hard, because after the fight's over, you're probably gonna short rest, and that will restore everything we've just talked about, which is a major part of why this build is just so strong and so fun for combat purposes. Remember, you have Eldritch Blast, which is scaling really well with our setup, so you're able to fire not 1, but 2 blasts at great range if you need to. With our setup with Repelling Blast, that will knock them back, which could be an instant kill if you're sending them off a cliff or something, or a reposition tool to get them off an ally, a spellcaster, or someone squishy you don't want under attack by whatever's on them. There's plenty of ways to play this build depending on the scenario, and you have the options. But there you have it, my first build for Baldurs Gate 3. I hope this was interesting or useful to you. If you're considering maybe trying some multiclassing, it's super easy to respec and try something totally different in this game, thanks to Withers and it only being 100 gold to do so. If you've enjoyed the build video, please do drop a like on it. We do consider these a good amount. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.